Hi, I'm Mike, and this week the U.S. government approved the new Farm Bill, providing billions in subsidies, legalizing hemp, and bolstering farmers markets across the United States. Today we take a look at the Farm Bill, subsidies, and country of origin labeling, and how they affect the ranch on our Wyoming Life. Welcome back to our Wyoming Life, where each week we explore the ranch life and escape the ordinary. Most of our episodes are centered right here on the ranch, and today is no different, but we're coming at it from a little bit different direction this week, as the Senate and the House of Representatives have finally approved a farm bill which was due September 30th. I guess better late than never. The Farm Bill is renewed every 5 years in the U.S. It was created during the Great Depression to help farmers that were struggling in the Dust Bowl. In 1933, it was passed by Congress and called the Agricultural Adjustment Act. And due to excess crop supply creating low prices, it allowed farmers to receive payments for not growing food. It also allowed the government to buy excess grain from farmers, which could then be stored and sold later. Under part of Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal, it also included a nutrition program, the precursor to what we still know these days as food stamps. Since 1933, a lot has changed. The government no longer buys excess grain and now requires farmers to enroll in crop insurance programs to receive payments. The new Farm Bill is $867 billion to be spent over the next 5 years. It's also over 1,000 pages, so there's a lot to it. But really, how does that affect a ranch in Wyoming, or our Wyoming life? Today, we're going to look at it and break down a few of the major ways that it does just that, the good and the bad. 5% of the last Farm Bill was set aside for commodities, the most common of subsidies. $23.5 billion over the last 5 years. On a cattle ranch in Wyoming, we don't get any of those. Commodities are set aside for mostly certain crops: wheat, corn, barley, oats, cotton, rice, soybeans, and peanuts, none of which we grow here. An interesting statistic about commodity subsidies is this. For the past 10 years or so, the top 10% of companies that received the Farm Bill's commodity subsidies accounted for 77% of the total monies that were sent out. This year, by most reports, it continues to offer enormous subsidies to large corporations rather than prioritizing the needs of struggling small farmers. The thing's not perfect. This policy towards big farms, well, it actually makes big farms get bigger and effectively moves smaller farms into harder and harder territory. Another part of the Farm Bill that could affect us here are loan programs that are included in the bill. Most farmers and ranchers are spending money long before any harvest is seen, and for some, credit is essential to finance costs like land, equipment, and infrastructure to continue for the long term. Farm Credit Services offers programs such as direct operating loans, microloans, and direct farm ownership loans to purchase or enlarge farms or ranches, and for soil, and for water conservation, and for protection purposes. This portion of the bill, oddly enough, actually makes money through interest on these loans. Also included in the Farm Bill is a section on crop insurance, protecting farmers and ranchers from natural disasters. This portion of the Farm Bill affects us as well. Through this portion of the bill, we're able to purchase crop insurance. The government pays about 2/3 of the cost of the insurance. The farmer or rancher pays the remaining third. This portion of the Farm Bill, it's pretty controversial. About 20% of all the insurance payments are going to the richest and the largest 1% of farms. Those that wish to reform the Farm Bill based on crop insurance note that insurance subsidies are furthering the consolidation of farms into larger operations. But I can say that it's not us getting rich off the insurance subsidies. I'll give you this example. We had to buy hay this year, over $50,000 worth. Now, we didn't harvest the hay that we usually do because of drought, but the entire county was not affected the same way. So they lump us all together, and it was deemed that there was no hay relief for our area. 2 years ago, we were in the same boat. We were granted hay relief. The entire county had a drought. We got a check to the tune of about $3,000, almost enough to buy one truckload of the 14 that we had to bring in that year. The Farm Bill also provides welfare for the next 5 years. Over 80% of the entire thing is devoted to food stamps or the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. They call it SNAP nowadays. And along these lines, the Farm Bill also provides permanent funding for farmers markets across the U.S., including promotional funds, research funds for organic farming, and money for organizations working to train the next generation of farmers. These grants, they're extremely competitive, but they are out there. Very small percentage of the whole Farm Bill is devoted to farmers markets, but they're out there to help farmers markets get bigger and better. And that may be a good thing, because farmers markets are the place that you can go to meet a farmer and know exactly where your food comes from, unlike what you may find at your local grocery store. Do you know where your meat is coming from? If you buy an avocado at the grocery store, you're going to know it was imported from Mexico. A pair of shoes made in China. In fact, the chicken you have in your cart may have been imported, but it's going to have somewhere on there telling you where it was born, raised, and butchered. Those little stickers are there thanks to country of origin labeling laws, requirements of U.S. law to tell you that those products were imported from another country. But let's stroll down to the beef and pork, and there are not stickers here. These products are exempt from these laws. In fact, most consumers have no idea where their ham or their steaks come from unless the producer chooses to label it. So, what makes beef and pork different? That's a good question. In 2015, the World Trade Organization ruled that America's country of origin labeling laws were discriminating against Canadian and Mexican livestock. Canadian and Mexican governments stated that the regulation represented a costly tracking and labeling mess. In order to protect their ranchers' interests, they threatened to increase tariffs on U.S. goods, and Congress soon changed the law to exempt beef and pork from country of origin labeling. The USDA justified their decision by saying that imported beef is a product of the U.S., even if it comes from a different country, as long as the country has the same food safety standards as the U.S. So, this isn't a food safety issue. All beef that comes into the U.S. is USDA inspected. And since the repeal of the country of origin labeling, the beef trade deficit has grown from $754 million in 1994 to $2.2 billion in 2016. Many cattlemen are calling for the reinstatement of country of origin labeling, claiming that millions of pounds of beef are now entering the U.S., imported from other countries and labeled as a product of the USA, despite only undergoing repackaging in the U.S., also stating that cattle producers are being squeezed, prodded, and poked by the meat industry, who can buy foreign beef and pork and still label it as U.S. beef. Now, do consumers want to know when they go to the grocery store that they're getting true U.S. beef and pork? Do they want to see where their food was born, raised, and butchered? Do they want to support local growers and producers? These are questions that the current country of origin labeling laws ignore. So I'm going to ask you, and you can comment below. As cattlemen continue to lobby to get country of origin labeling reinstated, they hope it'll stop market manipulation, help Americans' rural economies, and put a stop to consumer disinformation. But for right now, the only way to know exactly where your beef and pork is coming from is to buy directly from a trusted farmer near you. Or you can ask your grocery store to offer more detailed information about where their meat is coming from. Now, some already do this, but it's consumers who may be the ultimate judge of what the real value of domestic meat is. Thanks for coming along today, but hopefully it gives you something to think about. Feel free to comment below, like the video or dislike it, and if you'd like to continue along the journey with us as we explore the ranch life and escape the ordinary, be sure to subscribe. Until I see you again, have a great week, and thanks for joining us in our Wyoming Life.